Mr. Paul Blakey, you're a very experienced and esteemed industry colleague, and you manage the 12th and Vine Mastering Studio on the Gold Coast.
Yes, and it's lovely to be here.
Thank you. Thank you. You've been featured on podcasts and you've been interviewed by ABC. Anything else you want to share about your illustrious career history?
It's just the best job in the world. I get paid to listen to music.
Lucky you. All right, so today we're going to talk about the resurgence of vinyl and tape.
Yes.
And I just want to ask you, I know that you've been dealing with vinyl, and I'm wondering if you can tell me whereabouts does this vinyl manufacturing take place? Where can indie artists access this service?
Okay, well in Australia, there's only one commercial vinyl pressing plant left. That's called Zenith, and that's run by a guy called Paul Rigby in Melbourne. And they're a full service operation, so they've got a lathe, they do the metal parts for the stamping, they press them up and they print the labels. So that's your commercial solution. There's, for very short run vinyl solutions, there are a couple of options such as Nathan at Short Run in Melbourne, and they're polycarbonate cuts.
Because I think really with the decline in music sales these days and the rise of streaming, vinyl has become a really relevant merchandise item for indies now, hasn't it?
It really has, yeah. It's another dimension to the connection with the artist's fan base, really. And as I'm fond of saying, everybody remembers the first record they buy, but no one remembers their first download, And it's that tangibility, having something tangible.
Yeah, and it just sounds a lot sexier.
Yeah, and the ritual too. You've got to make the decision to play it. You take it out of the cover, you put it on your machine, you put the tone arm on, you sit back, and you actually listen to the record.
It's an experience, isn't it?
Isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, I love it. Another interesting thing, I've got a friend who runs a studio in New York City. He was telling me that there's been a bit of a resurgence in using cassette tapes to give out as demos over there. Yeah. Do you think that that's going to be something that sort of takes off in Australia, or?
Well, my spin on that is that it's probably more a gimmick to stand out from the crowd. Although having said that, I know a client of mine recently did a mixtape on a real cassette, but again that was for marketing purposes, really. Although I am reliably informed that in the UK they've revived the cassette chart, so but I don't think you have to sell too many to get on that one.
Wow. Given that you're a mastering engineer, it'd be great if you could just briefly tell us about the difference between mastering, the technicality around mastering for vinyl as opposed to CD.
That's a good question. And it's mainly a function of the media. So for vinyl, when I know something's going to vinyl, I'm very careful about the bottom end. There's not much going on below about 40 hertz in when you cut vinyl. And that's important, so you don't want to mix it with stereo bass and things like that, because it's really got to be a mono bottom end, if that makes sense. And that's a function of the media, how much sound you can get on the real estate available. And the other enemy of vinyl cuts is sibilance, that hi-hats that rip your head off, that sort of thing. That kind of is not kind to the media, and I make sure that nothing that leaves my place and goes to Zenith has anything like that in it. And Zenith's been very good to me. They're very good referrers, and I think one of the reasons for that might be that I kind of get what they need.
Excellent. I just want to kind of sum up the main point around what our discussion today, like a bit of a tagline, if you will. And I think it's probably that everyone remembers their first record, but no one remembers their first download. Can you just say that for me again?
Yeah. Everybody remembers their first record, but no one remembers their first download.
So true. And just lastly, I've just got a quick funny question for you. If you were stuck on a desert island and you could take just one record with you to listen to you for the rest of your time there, what would it be?
It would probably be an old doo-wop 45. The Five Satins doing In the Still of the Night. It's just charming. Leaky valve on the saxophone solo and all.
Love that.